Hey,
Hello, my name is Selena.
and my name's Theoni, and you are listening to Piping Hot.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Piping Hot. It's been a week for us.
Yeah, to say the least. I'm like literally hanging by a thread. I was
Yeah.
telling Selena before we got on, I'm one of those people, as emotional and like sensitive as I can be, I don't show emotion. Like I do not cry in front of people if I don't have to.
Yeah.
And I was telling Selena, I was like, I can't tell if I want to cry or like what I want to do, but my go-to is to just laugh my way out of the situation. So this is the perfect distraction for me right now.
Yes, no, stress-free, whatever.
Yeah. How was your week?
It's been good. It's been really busy. Work is picking back up again. We celebrated Jack's birthday this past weekend, so that was really fun. Yeah, and it's getting chilly here, which I'm like fine with, but now that it's like getting to be more cold, I'm like, "Oh, wait, I don't know if I really like this." Like I'm like backtracking of like, "Oh, I'm not ready for winter." But yeah.
See, I love that it's getting cold again because now I
Yeah.
can wear my sweaters and my dresses, like all the cozy clothes that I don't get to wear during the summer because I sweat like a something.
No, I agree. It's just that like I hate taking the dogs out, but then I have to like have a jacket and I have to put on shoes, not sandals. I have to put on shoes now, and then it'll get worse in the winter when I have to put on my coat and then my boots, and then I have to put on their boots and their coat. It's just a whole debacle.
I love that they're in boots. That's so cute. Oh my god.
Oh, how have you been?
Funny you should ask. No, no, I am very, very like I'm definitely nearing like burnout for sure.
Yeah.
Just like not only in work stuff, but also just like personal stuff. Like I just had a really long weekend, and not all of it was like bad. A lot of it was good, but I think I've just been like doing so much social stuff or like doing so many things and just constantly around people that like I just feel fried in every direction and in every way. Fried in every direction, the heck? No, that sounds so messed up.
I mean, sure.
Yeah, I have been fried in every direction, but like I think I need some like alone time. Like that's what I'm craving, or just some time to like actually rest, because I don't know how to relax. I really don't. So I need that time to just zen.
Yeah, and to like just recharge, because like you can only go so long until you're like burnt out, and sometimes you just need a weekend to yourself just to like chill out.
Exactly. And this weekend I'm going to a conference with a crap ton of people, so that is really good timing for me personally. Yahoo.
Okay, wait, random question, because I've seen this all over TikTok, but do you get seasonal like depression in the winter or in the summer? Because I guess I didn't realize that people felt really down in the summer, because I think for me personally, like that happens in the fall when daylight is only like 6 or 7 hours in the day, and it's been all over my For You page, and so I was just like very interested.
That's so interesting. I don't know that necessarily, because I feel like let's talk about depression. No, I feel like when I'm going through like hard times, it like very much, I don't know for me that it's like a seasonal thing, honestly. Like I'm not saying it's like year-round depression, what up? Like, that's not what I'm saying. But like I'm just saying that like it really depends. If I have depression, it's like definitely situational, like what's going on in my life. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Okay, no, I definitely understand that. I think I personally spike more during the fall and winter. And I think it gets really, really bad for me like January through March, because then the holidays are done and then I'm done riding that high, and then it's just like snow and darkness, and I just hate it.
Well, yeah, like as a mental health counselor, therapist, as my job, it's like seasonal depression is a real thing. Like people don't realize, like it literally, a lot of the times people don't realize it can be like a very like physiological thing. Like you're not getting vitamin D. Like things like truly change. You're not getting sunlight. There's something to be said about those things and how it like genuinely physically affects you. So I mean, it's very, very legitimate.
Yeah. Okay, wait, do you want to know a funny thing? Because the last time that I came to Boston, you have a pet peeve of like keeping lights on, and it's so funny because every time I like go to turn off the lights, I'm like, oh, Theoni would hate this. Like I can't keep the lights on. I have to turn them all off.
That's so funny. I've infiltrated your brain. That's so
really
funny. No, honestly, though, like lights on, I don't know why. I think it's just how you're like raised. Like I remember my mom was like, turn off the lights at all times. Like rah. Like I don't. Like it's just how I was like raised.
Yeah.
But other people were raised and it's like all the lights are on all the time.
Yes.
So now it's just like a habit and I'm a little psycho about it, but I try to be calm. Doesn't always work, but I try.
Yeah.
That's
for
so
effort.
funny, though. Your electricity bill is gonna thank me. You're
I
welcome.
know. It really is. Yeah. What are you drinking today?
Oh, my friend.
Wait, let me guess. Let me get stress relief.
Yes. Nothing else would have helped and or tasted good to me right now. Like I need the stress relief and I'm waiting for it to just evaporate any bit of stress I have.
Into your bloodstream, into
Literally.
like everything.
Yeah. I'm literally chugging this mug. Oh my God. I barely let it seep and I'm like, like I drink it so fast. Literally,
Well, you deserve it. You deserve it.
Thank you. I also like was eating M&Ms by the handful like before we got on because I was just like, I need to treat myself chocolate.
Yeah.
What are you drinking?
I am drinking the chamomile vanilla manuka honey. I was going to do peppermint today, but I was like, I haven't had this one in really, really long time. I feel like it's a very like fall-ish cozy tea.
Definitely.
So yeah, that's what I'm drinking.
Love it. I feel like you're a vibe tea drinker.
I really am.
Yeah.
Like I follow the vibe. That's all. That's it.
That's a life motto. Follow the vibe. So, Selena, what pop culture stuff do you have today?
I have a decent amount.
Great, because I have like 2.
Okay, so my first 2 items, which I can combine then, are about Trevor Noah, who is the host of The Daily Show. First one is that there's something happening with him and Dua Lipa. There were pictures.
The thing is, I don't hate it.
Me neither.
And I don't know why I don't hate it, but I also just think Trevor Noah is like so attractive. Like I don't know what it is about him.
Yeah.
I just really think he's attractive.
Have you seen like the definition of like ugly hot and like hot ugly?
Yes.
I think
do you think he's ugly hot?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. The same way that I think Pete Davidson is ugly hot.
Oh, no. I think Trevor Noah is just like attractive.
Oh no.
I don't think he's like ugly.
No, because like Chris Evans is like hot. Like he's like top tier.
Well, I'm not saying Trevor Noah's like hot. I would say Trevor Noah's in like the cute hot category.
Okay.
But I don't think he's like ugly like Pete Davidson is. Not that Pete Davidson is like ugly, but like ugly hot. You know what I mean?
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
I can settle with cute hot.
Okay,
for Trevor Noah.
Great.
We have that settled.
Out.
Yeah. But yeah, no, there are pictures of them together, and I agree. I don't hate it. I guess I just like didn't see it coming, but I am happy for them because I feel like in a weird way they work. And then another big news about Trevor Noah as well is that he is leaving The Daily Show after 7 years, which I think is crazy.
I know. I'm so curious who will take over it because I feel like those late night spots are so coveted, right?
Yes.
So I'm very curious like who they'll get to replace.
Well, the thing is too is that like the host before him, I don't remember his name. I can literally see his like
is it
image.
John Oliver? John Stewart?
John something. Not
I'm
John
pretty
Stewart.
sure. Yeah.
I don't know.
John Stewart's the old guy.
Yeah. Yeah, right?
He's really freaking funny.
Yes. Okay, I think it is Jon Stewart. But I remember when Trevor Noah was making his way in and everyone was criticizing him because he had really big shoes to fill. But Trevor has done great over these 7 years. And so I'm very curious who's going to fill his shoes because, again, they're huge shoes to fill.
100%. And I feel the same way about like James Corden leaving the Late Late Show. It's like, who can fill? It's just like, I feel like these late night hosts are in those positions for so many years that like imagining someone trying to do that is like impossible.
Yeah, it's like Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel. Like anything, like I've known them like that for so long that it would be so weird after all these years that they're leaving.
Yeah.
Because they're just like huge in the like the late night show area.
Okay, so the next pop culture thing I have, did you see anything on TikTok about Hailey Bieber's Call Her Daddy interview?
I did. I did.
Okay, so I don't know a ton of details, but the one thing I will point out that I think is very interesting is that, okay, Hailey Bieber was talking a lot about Selena Gomez, not in the sense where she was like talking about her, but just like how that played out in the media and how it affected her and like her relationship. But she never used Selena's name, which I think is so ridiculous because I'm like, we all know who you're talking about. And Selena has been very vocal about being like, don't hate on other people. Don't do this. Don't do that. And I feel like by not saying her name, it's like, what are you trying to accomplish? Because we all know who you're talking about. So if you're going to be forthcoming in this interview, then be just like forthcoming all the way. Like, you know?
No, I agree. And it's like, we have not been living under a rock. Like we know who you're talking. It's almost like if you take like the Joshua Bassett stuff and it's like, oh, like I wonder who he's talking about. No, we clearly know who he's talking about.
Exactly.
You know?
Yes,
like it's
exactly.
Like it's like everyone was there. So it's like you trying to be like sneaky or whatever. It's like it's not gonna work because everyone knows. Exactly. Also, I'm in the court where it's like, could we just stop talking about this?
Literally, I'm so done with it.
Me too. I'm over it. You have been married to Justin for what? Almost 5 years now?
Yeah. Just move on.
Yeah. I'm like done. And like, the thing is that I respect if you want to talk about your experience because you know what? It's probably been really hard mentally to cope with that and work through it. But I also err on the side of like, okay, well, we don't have to keep talking about it and bringing it up every single freaking time.
Because I genuinely feel like, I mean, of course, I'm not in her shoes or Justin's shoes or Selena's shoes, so I don't know what kind of messages, what kind of comments they get every single day. But I genuinely feel like, at least in the larger media, I haven't seen or heard anything about like that whole love triangle situation in a long time. So then her bringing it up just brought it to light again and is making the things worse again. So it's like, literally, you have to be thoughtful about finding the balance between what is helpful conversation and what is just more harmful to people involved.
I agree. And like timing is key too. Because again, going back to Joshua Bassett, when he went on the Zach Sang show. Yeah. It was timely. It was like maybe a year after. This is like 5 years. You've been married to the guy that you've been pining over all these years. Like yes, it took the media by storm, but like we can
move
stop.
on.
Yeah. I'm happy we agree.
Yes, I know, me too. So what's your next thing?
My next thing is that SNL is back and what's his face?
Miles Teller.
Miles Teller was the host. And I'm not sure if you saw, they did the parody of the AMC commercial.
I was dying. It's so funny. Like, especially at the end of the skit when everyone like started clapping. Like, it's so funny. And I love that just collectively as a nation, we're like, what the hell is this?
Yeah. We were like, what is this commercial? And I'm so happy that SNL did a parody of it because like, again, this commercial has just been ridiculous. My next one is that Bella Hadid in the Paris Fashion Week had her dress spray painted on. Have you seen that?
Yes.
It's wild. Like, I just am speechless about it.
In like a good way or a bad way?
I guess I I don't know. Like,
Okay.
I guess, one, it's like, who thought of that idea? Two, why would anyone sign up for that? Because if you saw when she walked out, she was basically just covering her chest with like a little thong on. That's it for a show. And then just to stand there waiting to get her dress spray painted on. I'm like, everything is like ridiculous.
I just want to know, again, I feel like this is going to be my catchphrase of the day, but like, what were you trying to accomplish by doing that? I know it was probably art and there was probably some like commentary behind it, but like, I personally, maybe I just didn't look into it enough, but I didn't understand what the commentary was supposed to be, or if it was just supposed to be art. And in that case, I'm like, okay, good.
I have no clue. I didn't look too deeply into it, but I just saw the videos. I was like, damn. Because then after it was all spray painted on, it looked like a dress, but as she was walking, you could kind of tell that like some parts like were not a dress, but like mostly
it was cool.
From afar.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. My next thing is Emma Chamberlain's house tour.
I didn't see it, but I've heard it's like good.
You know, it's like times like these where I'm reminded like, what the hell am I doing? When I could be doing that. Like,
yeah,
what the heck?
I know. I think about that frequently of like why I chose a career where I'm constantly burnt out and emotionally exhausted and not getting paid enough when I could like do something else. And not to say that there isn't like challenges to like that career as well.
Yep.
Because I feel like people like delegitimize it a lot, but I mean, they are like an entertainer, just like an actor and actress, you know?
Yeah.
But like, I'm sorry, it's not the same. So.
Yeah. No, it's not. And it's crazy. I mean, good for her. Like, I know that she's come a long way because she started on YouTube like way, way long ago. And so I definitely understand all the hard work that she's like done and everything that she's gone through. But it's like, her house is amazing. Like,
I'll have to watch it. I love like architecture and interior design. So.
Her kitchen is amazing, and it's just like chef's kiss. Like, I love it.
Amazing.
Yeah. My last thing, I don't know if you've seen it, but the second episode of The Kardashians aired on Hulu, and it was revealed that Tristan proposed to Khloe back in December of 2021.
And this was after she found out about the other woman being pregnant, correct?
No, because that came out in January.
Wow.
Right? Because remember, if we go back to our episode that we did with her, it was rumored that she got back with Tristan October, November.
Yes.
But then it came out in January publicly about that lady who had his kid.
You're right.
The audacity of this man floors me.
He never fails to amaze me with how crappy he can become.
Truly
is. Yeah.
Truly.
Like, it's always something else that's skeezy or like manipulative or trying to like change the situation when like he's just trying to cover up his crappy behavior.
Yes. No, truly. And it's just, oh my God. I mean, I should have seen it coming, but I didn't. I just like, I just hate him so much.
I know you do. He is like the biggest on your shit list.
No, he truly is. He really, truly is. And I'm so happy that Khloe said no in the episode 2. She's talking about like, you know what? Like, this is what I want, but we need more time to establish our relationship, work through our problems. Because at that point, he has already cheated on her multiple times. And so I give props to Khloe to be like, no. Let's not rush into this. Let's work through this. And guess what? It benefited her because then the next month it was released that he was having another kid. Like, it's just ridiculous. And like, good for her. Good for her.
Yes. Mic drop.
Yeah,
she said,
really.
Let me tell you what's up. And then the last pop culture thing that I have is that Joshua Bassett I think it was today or yesterday, dropped a teaser for a new song he's dropping this Thursday. Which makes no sense to me since he just released his EP. I want to talk to his label.
Yeah.
Because the release of his music, the timing of his tour makes no sense. I just don't understand. Like, I feel like, and again, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes or like what kind of decisions are having to be made, but like it just doesn't seem like it's conducive to like helping him grow as an artist or gain more like momentum. Like, why are you dropping a song right after you just dropped a full EP?
Yeah.
When you just said that you're working on a full album?
I know.
It just doesn't make sense.
It feels very like disjointed in a way. And it's like, it feels like there's no strategy behind any of his release dates or any of his marketing. It's just like, oh, we're just like throwing stuff out and we're just releasing it into the world. And like, that's it.
Which, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But like from the, not PR perspective, from like the marketing perspective, it's like that stuff matters. And you're not going to grow the way you want to if that's happening. So that's that. But now we're going to dive into our topic of the day, which is discussing Joshua Bassett's newest EP, Sad Songs in a Hotel Room. Thoughts. Overall thoughts.
Okay. So I loved all the songs. And I think diving back into his music really reminded me like why I was so drawn to him in the first place. Like his voice and just like everything is like really great. But a part of me felt like this EP was so predictable. I just wanted a bit more variety, and unfortunately, all the songs sounded the same. They were all slow, and it didn't like really showcase his voice as I know it. Like I know that he can belt, I know that he can go higher and all that stuff. It just like kind of like stood kind of like in the same area. And like an example of like the variety that I would want is like his song Secrets, which was great. Like that was a great bop that kind of came out of nowhere, and it was great kind of sandwiching it in the middle of Set Me Free and his other song Crisis. And with this one I just like didn't really feel that, unfortunately.
I am so in agreement with you, and like being a huge fan of his, I'm like a little disappointed because I felt like I listened to the same song over and over almost. And the one thing I will say that I've always loved about him, and you could still tell it in this album, but like I've always respected his like musical talent so much, like even his like ear for different chords or little moments. I know way back when we started the podcast and discussed his first whatever, I talked about his song Sorry, and he like has this really cool piano part, and like I go back to that first EP and he has like Do It All Again and Heaven Is You, which are like slower songs, but then he has Lie 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 and Sorry that are more upbeat. And like I just feel like he didn't, and maybe that's just what he's writing, but I was like, I just feel like you're better than this. It felt very monotonous, and it made it hard to listen through because I was like, I feel like I'm hearing the same thing. And like his songwriting also felt very literal this time around.
It did. It really did. Well, okay, the thing is too is that like I 100% agree with everything that you just said. But maybe also, I'm just giving Joshua the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it's called Sad Songs in a Hotel Room for a reason. Like it's supposed to be really sad and slow and all of that stuff, which like, okay, if that's the case, great. But then when your next song comes out or when your next album or EP comes out, I need more variety. Like I know you can do it, you know?
Yeah. And I just, it's like do what you want to do, but also I feel like you're going to get sick of your songwriting too. So I don't know. Overall, it was fine, but I didn't love it. So my mom was calling classic every single time.
Oh my gosh, we should make a montage of her calling every single time.
No, literally. This time I declined her so fast, so I kind of feel like a jerk, but I'll call her later.
So the first song in this EP is called Sad Songs in a Hotel Room.
What?
Oh my god. Yeah.
Crazy.
I don't my reactions are so funny. I'll literally just read them to you. Yeah. My first note is the minor notes, question mark, question mark, question mark. And then my second one is first impression is that I'm very impressed. And who is he talking about in that hotel room? Sir? Question mark, question mark.
Here's the thing I'll say about that song. I feel like the minor chords in the chorus, because I know exactly what part you're talking about. If that's what you're talking about, if that's not what you're talking about, then I'll start talking about something else. But there's these minor chords where he kind of falls down the da da da, like in the chorus.
Yes.
And I liked it, but it also felt like, what's a little thing that we can put in this chorus to make it sound more interesting? You know what I mean? Like it didn't feel.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Unfortunately. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I want to see like who's credited on these songs. Like is it just him doing all of the songwriting and like he has like one producer, or like is he collaborating with like other people?
Yeah.
Because that makes a big difference too.
No, it totally does. But I'm not. I think he probably has a couple collaborators in the sense where it's like he writes a song, but then they kind of like help him put the EP together and like edit and stuff like that. So
Okay.
But I also know, I feel like given his history, he probably craves more control over his artistry than like maybe others might.
Yes.
Just because I can see why he would want to make sure he's communicating the way he wants to communicate.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And I just like, I hate to compare, but like I have to. It's just like knowing that we've watched the Olivia Rodrigo documentary, we know that she wrote most of Sour. I think the only one that she had a lot of help on was Brutal, which sounds so different, you know? And so that's why I'm wondering, I'm like, okay, well, like who on his team is helping him, or is it kind of just like him running with it or whatever? I don't know.
Okay, so this is kind of what I got from the meaning of the song, right? So I think it's like kind of about like reminiscing in this place where it's almost like being in a place that you associate with someone that you used to love or used to have this like connection with, and then being back in that place and how now it holds a whole new like sad meaning to you, and like you're in this place where you're like isolated and lonely and like bored with your life, and you're just sitting there reminiscing on the good times, but like realizing that that's never gonna go back to the way it was.
Yes.
And you kind of just have to learn to like move on from that.
Yeah, I so agree. I also think in a way he's like mourning the past, and it's like interesting that like you would want the past, but like you said, it would never be the same. And so like I felt like kind of him moving on but not moving on at the same time.
No, exactly. And I feel like that bleeds perfectly into what my favorite lyric was, because my favorite lyric was, "We checked in together, I never checked out." Is that your favorite lyric?
Shut up. We're literally the same person.
We're literally the same. That's crazy. But that literally perfectly captures what I feel like the song is about. It's like, you've moved on, but now I'm here in this space. Yeah. And I am still invested, but I know that I have to learn how to like move on.
It's such a simple but tragic line. Like it holds so much power.
Wow. Look at us.
Wow.
Great minds think alike. What up? Okay. I feel kind of bad, but like honestly, I don't have as much to say about these songs because, again, I feel like a lot of them, not in a bad way, which I'll go into later when I talk about one of the songs, but again, I feel like the stories in some of these songs are similar to the stories he's told in other songs. Yeah. So I don't feel like kind of diving into the same thing we've dove into before, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So song number 2 on the EP is called LA. This song was probably one of my least favorites. I felt like it was kind of forced. Like I feel like like in the sense that like the comparison to LA and like being in LA is like blah blah blah. I just felt like that was so typical and so like I was like, okay, I don't know how to describe what I'm saying.
Almost it was like too obvious. So like let me draw connections because it's so easy.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
Interesting. Me personally, I thought that this was like a very personal and vulnerable song. And I appreciated, again, right, like we've said before, he's very vulnerable in all of the songs that he writes and sings. And so I appreciate that aspect of him. But now that you're saying about like the comparison, like I agree, but also knowing his history, with the press and everything, I understand why that would be a song.
Yeah, like what he talks about in the song isn't necessarily forced or like typical or anything like that. Yeah. But I think just like the metaphor of LA felt typical.
Like it's been done so many times.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, the meaning of the song was just kind of about like, again, I feel like it's more obvious just because of the comparison to LA.
Yep.
Like, you know, the energy of living in a place like that, the energy of living in that kind of industry, working in that kind of industry, and everyone's kind of in their own bubble and kind of wanting to, what's the word, like not selfish, but like they're kind of selfish in the way where it's like people are just concerned for themselves and about how they're gonna like move forward in their career and how they're gonna make themselves more popular. And so you're in your own bubble in that way, and you kind of have to pretend you're fine, because if you're not fine, then you'll get negative press or you won't move forward in the industry or whatever. And you have to be fine when you're not, because you have to keep doing your obligations and can't let millions of people down. So,
which in this song I appreciate, because I feel like I get that sense that it's a very lonely career process kind of business. And so again, like I appreciate the vulnerability of the song, but again, it was just like meh.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. What was your favorite lyric from the song?
It's funny because my favorite lyric was the whole second verse.
Wait, read it.
It says, "It's all who do you know?" And
I thought it was the same.
Oh God. It was the same. Okay, well I will read it and let's see if it's the same or not. But it's all who do you know and where did you know them? Not where you're from, but where are you going? How can you help me get to where I need? When everything is going right, they're on your side. But just as luck runs out, they're harder to find. Again, it's just like giving me that image of like, wow, like people will just abandon you for like anything.
Yeah, and I feel like that a good example of that is like, I don't know, Demi Lovato's history in the industry, and you can see that in her documentaries. But I do like the last part of that verse a lot. When luck runs out, they're gone.
Yeah,
they're gone.
Yeah,
it's so true, and that happens in real life all the time as well.
Yeah, really.
When it's like as soon as it gets difficult or you aren't the best version of yourself, people don't want to deal with that.
Also, when it stops benefiting them, they leave. Like that's a whole other thing too.
Oh, let me talk about it. Oh my God. Okay. So my favorite lyric was, when I was young, my father told me not to cry in front of my mom and said it's time to grow up. And now that I'm older, I couldn't tell you the last time that I cried if I want. And I really like that because it felt like one of the more personal and like specific lyrics in the song. And I also think it really relates to what he talks about the rest of the song being like, you don't want to show that you're upset or that you're sad because you don't want to burden someone else with that, or you don't want to like affect them negatively because of your emotions. And so I feel like that really carries over to like what he talks about in the rest of the song.
All right. So the next song on the EP is called Used to It. And I will read you my first two comments. The first one is, the gasp, I gusped at the first and second line, which I wrote that, but I literally don't remember what the first and second line is. And then the second comment right below is, OMG, the chorus is a bop.
Yes, this was my favorite song on the EP.
Yeah.
Let me look up the first lyrics now, because now I want to remember why you gasped. I'm not surprised you didn't call when I almost died. You didn't care at all. Yep.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No,
like, no, that's so blatant. Like, I was literally on my deathbed and you still couldn't have cared to send me a well wish.
Yes. Again, like, it goes back to the whole like Hailey Bieber thing. It's like, we all know who you're talking about. Like, we're not dumb.
Yeah.
So
crazy.
Again, just the vulnerability in his songs and just like all of the kind of like little details we get is crazy.
But that's what I mean. That's what I respect so much about him. He's a really, really good songwriter, which is why I think I was disappointed that the melodies felt monotonous, because he's not that way at all.
I know.
So, but anyways, here's kind of the meaning that I got out of the song. So, I think it's like, which I related to this so hardcore, which is why I think that I liked it as much as I did.
Yeah.
But this is what I wrote down. So it basically is talking about stepping out of your relationship or getting out of your relationship and being angry at them for treating you a certain way, but then also being mad at yourself for letting them treat you so poorly for so long. And just like that anger towards both parties, because it's always, you know, I've talked about this in different contexts on the podcast before, but I think it's easy to be angry with yourself when you're not doing the best things for you, but especially in the context of a relationship. And when you're someone who's really giving, it is easy to try to do everything you can to please that person, and then before you know it, you're getting taken advantage of, and you're like, why did I ever let myself get to that point? Like, I should be better than that.
No, 100%. It's funny because like literally as you were just describing that, I was thinking, I'm like, wow, emotions are so complex. Like that is crazy how you can feel like two different things about like the same situation. It is wild.
No, I talk to my clients about that all the time when like different people share with me, I don't know how I'm feeling, or I'm sad and happy and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you can have all of that at one time. Yeah. And it doesn't make anyone less legitimate than the other.
Exactly. Yeah.
Your emotions are valid. All of you listening. All three of you. What was your favorite lyric from the song?
Yes. So I have two. And it kind of goes into what you were talking about of how like, you know, like this song kind of has like really contradicting emotions, but all at the same time. Like you're feeling them all at the same time. And so my first one is, Mama said you can't be mad at who you wish somebody was, which really hit home. And then my second one is, after all that you did, I won't admit it's you I miss, which is just so heartbreaking.
It is, because it's like, I'm so pissed at you and you treated me so poorly, but I still miss you.
I know.
If that isn't so freaking relatable in relationships, I don't know what is. Truly. Here's my favorite lyric.
Okay.
Stabbed me in the back and I'm the one who's saying sorry. Again, you told our friends you're glad it hurts. When I listen to stab me in the back and I'm the one who's saying sorry, my mind was blown, because that is me like to a T. You know me.
Oh, 100%.
I apologize for things that aren't my fault all the time, because and I think like a lot of people who feel like peacemakers or like people pleasers to a fault like relate to that. And it's like, you can wrong me, but I'm still trying to just make everything okay. Like, it's so heartbreaking and stressful. And everything.
I agree. I do remember listening to that line and being like, ooh, I know who you're talking about.
But that's what I have for that song.
Yeah, I don't have anything else.
Coolio. So the next song is Smoke Slow, which was one of the singles off of the album.
Yep.
I felt mediocre about this song. I thought some of the metaphors was interesting, but I don't know. I felt kind of indifferent about this one.
So it's interesting because when I listened to the single, I was like, whatever. But in the EP, it makes sense.
Fair. Yes,
you know?
I agree.
It feels really cohesive, and I understand why it belongs to this EP now. But yeah, I just said that the song is really sad, and that this song could be used to describe unrequited love in a romance novel.
Yes, you're so right though. Right? Wow. Zing.
Yeah.
Okay, so my song meaning.
Okay.
Basically, it's like the thing where the person you like is dating someone else, and you have a special connection with them. You know there's like a spark there. You know there's more there, but you're too smart for your own good, and you put up that boundary, and you know you can't cross that boundary, but you're kind of always walking that line between something more, but like just staying friends, and like being okay and being happy with the parts of them that you're allowed to have, because you can't have the entirety of them because they're with someone else.
You just like described a trope in like a romance book. I was like, what the heck? I was trying to think of a book, but I was like, there's so many that I literally could not think of one.
Yeah.
Anyways. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I love the song meaning and the lyrics of this song better than I liked the song, if that makes sense.
It does make sense.
Okay.
That does make sense.
Okay.
Okay, what was your favorite lyric?
Yes. So I like the lyric, addicted to illusions of a love that never was and never will be anyway.
That one hits home. Like, holy
Because
crap.
it's like, I'm literally hooked on this idea of you or of this idea of what could be, but I'll never be able to see it through and see if that's what it would actually be like. And I think that's the hardest part to sit with as a person is like, I'll never be able to know like, well, what if you weren't dating that person? What if we took it a step further? You'll never know. And you have to be okay with that, which is such a hoax.
I know. That's why it's an illusion.
You're right. He said it best. What's yours?
Mine is in the chorus. So it's next to you, but I'll never be close. So take your time while you're mine and smoke slow. Like, next to you, but I'll never be close. Excuse me?
That's brilliant.
Like, that hurts. That really hurts. Like, wow. Because it's like, you can almost like argue that like closeness is not physicality. It is like mentally and spiritually. And it's like, yeah, you can be physically close, but you'll never cross the other threshold mentally, spiritually, anything else, which makes it even sadder.
Ugh.
Right?
Gross. But brilliant. Ugh.
Yeah.
Okay. Oof, the Martha. Next song?
Yes.
All right. Next song is Lifeline, which is another single, I believe. He does have a music video out for it. I haven't gotten a chance to watch it, but from the little clips I've seen, it's very just emotional and reminiscent of his time in the hospital, which of course is what the song is about. This was probably definitely up there on my list of songs on the album. I thought it was really, really beautiful. And I thought of, since we kind of felt it was monotonous, to me, this felt like one of the more important songs. Like, yes he had Crisis. Yes, he had Set Me Free that like alluded to his time in the hospital and things like that. But I think this was really, really deep and really personal and really heartbreaking and all of the things. And I think, to me, if you're gonna, I don't know, it was lyrically really good. Like I really like the melodies. So if he were to keep a few of these songs on the EP, this would be one that I would want him to keep because it felt very important to him too. Like I'm sure writing it felt very cathartic.
Yeah. No, I remember listening to this and being like, wow, I feel like I should not even be listening to this because it was that personal and just like that in depth to like what he was experiencing and everything in that time when he was in the hospital. But again, like I agree, it probably was very cathartic to write it out into a song.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll just go into my song meaning, even though I feel like this one is more literal in the sense of what it's talking about. So you can probably listen to it and know what it's talking about. But it is about his hospitalization back in 2021, where he basically almost died in the hospital from stress and septic shock. But I think like on a deeper level, it's almost a reminder of like what matters the most in your life. And I think sometimes, when new people come into your life or things get in the way, you start to get jaded by not even jaded by those things, but distracted by those things. You make certain things more important than what really should be important. And so to me, this song was like putting in perspective the people who really care about you, the people who really matter, and the people who truly care about you will always be there, and they'll show that through their actions. So like that's kind of what I got from the song.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Okay. What was your favorite lyric?
My favorite lyric is 2 lines.
Okay.
We hardly say I love you because your parents' never did. I was like, I feel attacked right now. Like, I was like, oh my goodness.
No.
But it was also really heartbreaking in the context of the song, knowing that he was in the hospital and he was like literally fighting to live. And it's just it was just like really heartbreaking.
It was so heartbreaking, but also I think just brings up such an important thing to recognize. And really, I think if people really take that into consideration, people's empathy would be a lot higher, right? Like, people's issues go so much deeper than just their issues, right? Like, it has so much to do with your parents, their parents, their parents. Like, I mean, that's why generational trauma has its own category, as does historical trauma, like its own category. Like, so much builds up to the culmination of what one person is, right? And so I feel like that lyric really points to that, and it almost brings about like an understanding of that concept, you know?
No,
wow, I feel wise as fuck.
You are. You're the expert here. You're the main character, okay?
Y'all, Selena keeps telling me I'm the main character, and the more she says it, the more I start to believe it. But like she told me earlier in a Snapchat video, she said we need something for the plot. So I'm ready to get this plot ramped up. This is probably hidden about a page 100. We are due for a meet cute. We are due for something to shake things up.
Long overdue.
And I will only accept it if it's a positive thing. I'm too fragile for a negative thing right now. I refuse. Anyways.
What was your favorite lyric?
Yes, my favorite lyric was, "Oh, I'll be fine for tonight with you by my side. Don't you know you're my lifeline?" And I think that just really speaks to the fact that this was just such a sweet moment between him and his mom and him and his family. And I really feel like that just speaks to how much he really appreciated that support. And just, I don't know, again, that recognition of like, you're who matters in my life.
Again, I felt like this was very, very personal. And I just like, I really hope his like mom also felt a little bit of relief. Or also like a cathartic feeling listening to this as well, because I mean, I guess as a mom, seeing your kid go through that is traumatic in itself as well.
100%.
So moving on to the last song on the EP, called All in Due Time. I guess I don't have a lot of comments about it, but I guess my only thing is that like it's a great song about healing, and I just like really enjoyed it.
100%. I thought lyrically, like meaningfully, it made a lot of sense, especially at the end of the album. It felt like the closing of a chapter, like similar to Set Me Free. Like it felt like a really good closing song. But it's not one I would go back and listen to a bunch more times. Like I didn't find it like that musically interesting, but I did really like the meaning in the lyrics.
I agree. What was your favorite lyric?
Yes. So my favorite lyric was, "Just 'cause it's over, it doesn't mean I'm over it now." Or, "Just 'cause it's over, it don't mean I'm over it now." And
that was mine.
Deanna. Sorry. What'd you say?
I said that was my favorite lyric.
Shut up. Oh my Lord. Same brain. Oh my God. I love it so much.
Oh my God.
But okay. Why did you love that lyric?
It's, again, like I said, I feel like it's about a song about healing. And yes, the situation can be over. Yes, it can be years and years after this so-called incident has happened, but it takes so much more time and energy to get over it personally, mentally. Like they're like almost two different ball games. And in this line, he like summed it up so perfectly but beautifully about like that struggle.
I agree. And I think especially with everything he went through, like the trauma of that, I think it just points to the fact that like sometimes you're not ever over something. And just because you're over it doesn't mean that like you haven't come to terms with it. Like and I think that that's like just a really important piece for anyone to recognize in their own lives. Like damn. So that kind of goes into my song meeting of just like a feeling pressure to act a certain way or present yourself a certain way. But I feel like it serves as a reminder that like healing is a process. Healing looks different for every single person. And so you can't judge someone for how they decide to heal or what that process looks like for them, because it's different for everybody. And things... now I'm going to go on a mental health rant. But it's true. It's like people can go through the same trauma or the same situation and be affected by it completely differently. And that's okay. And that's okay because you never know what their background is, what got them to that point, how they reacted to it. You don't know. And I think it also points to the fact that like it's okay if your healing process is up and down and up and down and around the twists and turns, because it's not just a straight line, right?
No, yeah.
Yeah. So that's that.
You said it perfectly.
Is that all the songs?
I think so. I mean,
Wow.
it wasn't a big EP. But...
No, and I think especially like I pointed out earlier, because I felt like some of course he brought it about in a different way, but I think because of some of the meanings behind the songs were similar to what we've talked about before, I don't feel like I had as much to say. And again, I think because the songs are kind of similar sounding, I also don't have a ton to say about like the musicality of it. But
yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. Okay.
Me too.
Like I enjoyed it,
Yes.
but I have very, very high hopes for this so-called album that's going to be coming out. Like I
know, me too.
I really need it to be good. Like I really, really need it to be good.
Because I know he can do it. Like
Yes!
I know he can do it. And I just hope that like he lets himself be creative and lets his songs go in different directions, because you can have also slow songs, but like spice it up in different ways. Like just try to, I just hope he challenges himself, because I know he can do it.
Yes.
I mean, he has songs in his discography that shows that he can. So
yeah, no, I agree.
well, with that, hello. Now that we're done talking about that, do you want to discuss our topic for next week?
Yes. So next week, Theoni and I will be talking about a celebrity and doing a deep dive on them. And you'll have to tune in next week to find out who.
Spicy spice. we like the suspense. We like the suspense.
Really.
That's why. But thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.